Anthro teaches art. Take 6. Here we go. All right, Rose, down here at the bottom, we have an icon for Photoshop. We have open Photoshop. This is Photoshop with no documents open. Go to File, Open. Go to wherever you saved your scanned in Jackal paper document. You can take a picture on your phone, and you know what? You're probably not going to know how to do that. Let's see how we can do this. So let's say you take a picture of your paper drawing Jackal on your phone. I made a server just for myself. This is my server. I am the only one who posts here. I am the only member here. Make a server for yourself, and you can send yourself pictures off of your phone via Discord. And then you can just transfer them right over to your computer, drop them from Discord onto your desktop or something. Open Photoshop. File. Open. Navigate to your desktop or wherever you've saved this photo of your drawing of Jackal on paper. What am I after today? I don't remember. Urania. I've done this so much, my brain is kind of fried. I keep hitting escape, and escape shuts my recording software, but it also does things in Photoshop. So I keep hitting it for Photoshop to illustrate things and forgetting that it's closing the recording software. Hence, we are on take 6. I am opening Urania today. This is a screenshot from the flight. I'm going to be working on the custom costume page, so pretty much a coloring page. Same theory applies to what you're doing, though. Let's see. Let's learn Photoshop's thingy. We have eLive, Quick, Guided, Expert. Ignore these 3. We are only ever going to use Expert, because otherwise it tries to hold your hand. On the left, we have all of the tools in the toolbox. We will get to those as we get to those. Down the bottom left, I will best explain that in a moment. Tool options, I'll explain that in a moment. Bottom right, layers. This thing over here, this gray area, is a drawer. It's your side drawer. If you click on the bottom down here button that says layers, it goes away. Click it again, the drawer pops out. Click it again, the drawer goes in. You can also pick any of these other drawers that do various things. You're free to mess around with at whatever time you so desire. We will want our layers on for now so we can see what we're doing. Up top, these are all various things you can do within the layer that I'm not going to mess with. You don't need to mess with. Back up here on the left, we have one tab open. We need another tab open. So we need a new page. We can do File, New, blank file, Control N, but I use shortcuts for everything, so I'm holding the Control key and hitting the N key, which is the same thing as File New. I am going to title this one Urania Custom Costume Lines, so I know what it is. You can name it, I don't know, Jackal for September. The document type is going to automatically set all of the parameters. So the clipboard will set it to whatever the last thing you copied was. We don't want that because that would be our screenshot. We don't want the size of the screenshot. We want US paper. You're welcome to come through and test all these other things, international paper, photo, scrapbooking, blah, 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 blah. I always use US paper. Letter, which will automatically set it to 8.5 by 11 with 300 dpi. The options once you're in US paper are letter, normal piece of paper, legal, which is 8.5 by 14, a little bit bigger, or tabloid, which is what I print the zine on, which is 11 by 17, or roughly the size of 2 pieces of paper next to each other. Resolution, 300 pixels per inch. This is the best resolution you can get and still have it functional. I would not suggest working in 72 because then your image gets crunchy. Hit OK. Now we've got 2 tabs, just like on a browser when you've got multiple tabs open. To switch between tabs, you can just click on a tab. That's one thing you can do. You can also come down here to the bottom left corner where it says Photo Bin. Click that to open the bottom drawer. Here are your 2 different things that you can switch between that way. This just gives you a preview, whereas if you're up top, you have no idea and you're kind of guessing based on what they're called. I'm going to close the Photo Bin for now. You can also, if you are used to it from various things, most programs use the shortcut Control Tab to flip between your various tabs. So if this were your Jackal drawn on a piece of paper, we would want to select all. So I would do Control A, but you can also do up here, select all, and it tells you right there next to it, for all, hit Control A. You hold Control, press A. Now we've got these go away thingy, crawling ants all around the side of the picture. That shows you what area is selected. The inside of those crawling ants is always selected. If I'm repeating stuff you know from school, I apologize. I'm just trying to cover all bases so nothing is uncovered. Then you want to copy. So edit, edit, copy. or Control C. Now we've copied this, we can close it. File, if you do exit or Q is quit, it will close the entire Photoshop program. We don't want to close the entire Photoshop program because that would close our new piece of paper. We just want to do File, Close, which is Control W. That closes just our original and leaves open the piece of paper. Now we can paste it here, so that's either Edit, Paste, or hold Control, press V. Let's talk about zooming for a minute. This is a touch screen that I have sent you, so if you put your index finger from both hands on either side of the screen and move them together, the screen will zoom out, and move them apart, the screen will zoom in. If you try and rotate, it does a wonky kind of, I'm not sure what kind of zoom I want to do, so I wouldn't suggest rotating. Other programs are set to work with that. You could probably mess with the settings and fix that in here, but I haven't done it, so I can't instruct you on it. You have to talk to somebody smarter than me. If you don't want to touch the screen to zoom in, I'm just saying that's an option. You can hold the control button and hit the minus key or the plus key to zoom in or zoom out. If you want to have it maximized so you can see the whole page on the screen, hold control and hit the number 0, and it will make it so that you can see your entire document in the work area. All right, so that's zoom. Over here on the right, background is locked. That's original. Oops, we don't want to lock that. This is our original. That's already locked. This will be here no matter what. You never want to draw on your background because then you're stuck with, if you want to delete something off of it, you're still left with that white background, and that's when people start saying, yeah, I drew on the wrong layer. You know what, just get rid of the background, or name it something else so you know what it is, like name it white. And then it unlocks, but you can lock it, so then you definitely can't do anything on it, because if you try and draw on it, it's going to say, yeah, you can't because it's locked. What do you need? What do you need quickly? I'm recording. No, there are no more. Sorry, you gotta wait until 4 o'clock. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so back here at layers. This would be your layer where you have your jackal thing. Let us illustrate for a moment, as I don't remember if this is recording 6, 7, 8. If you expand a small drawing, look at how yucky and pixelated that gets. And I'm not going to hit escape this time, because that's the wrong thing to do. That's how I shut down my recording software. Point being, when you make a small drawing and try to make it bigger, it gets yucky looking. So you always want to start with a big drawing. That way you can shrink it if you so desire. If you know the exact size you need, that's optimal choice. But rule of thumb, always make things bigger than they need to be. So to make our rough, I'm going to call it rough. You can call yours rough. So we know that that's the paper. To make him bigger, you go to Edit. You don't go to Edit, you go to Image. Transform. There we go. Transform. Free transform. You will get, what are these called? These are called anchors. Anchors, they're called. These are 9 anchors. If you grab one, you can pull it from that direction. This distorts it. If you grab the top or bottom, you're going to get a really wonky looking thing. If you grab a corner, it will keep it the same dimensions left and right. It just changes how big it is. Now, since I've fouled it up, I'm going to click on any random tool and I ask, do you want to keep this? Apply, yes. Don't apply, no, or cancel. Cancel leaves you back to, you can continue messing with it, turning it around. Oh, that's a thing you can do too. If you don't click on an anchor, if you click outside of it, you can rotate the thing. That's one of the joys of free transform. Let's talk about the transform tool since we're here. So here's rotate. You can click on that and it will lock it so that no matter what anchor you click on, it stays on the rotate tool. You can click on scale. So no matter what one, oh, no, okay, scale does let you use only the anchors. It's supposed to only let you use only the corners. Skew does a really cool thing. Let me see if I can get him back to normal real quick so I can show you what skew does. Skew, if you grab one anchor, it only moves that side, so it makes it woo! You can grab just one corner and do these really wonky things with it. It's fun to play with if you're looking for like putting a label on a bottle and you need it to be slightly curved. You can kind of do that with it. That's fun. I'm going to undo that so I can continue showing other things with transform. Now remember, this is image transform, free transform to get to this transform thing. Or I use the shortcut Control T because I'm a nerd. If you, down here on the bottom, if you click on one of the anchors, now you can see it's highlighted dark gray, it will spin around that anchor as your base anchor. So instead of spinning in place around the center, it spins around the anchor that we picked. We could pick a different anchor, and now it spins around the other anchor. Or you could put it back to the middle, which is the default, and now it spins in place. This will show you how far, in case you wanted to put it exactly, let's say 18 degrees, you can do that. Constrained proportions means if you click on, let me reset him again. Constrained proportions means if you grab the diagonal and pull it, it'll keep the X and the Y, the width and the height, equal to each other from their original. If you turn that off, it'll let you do whatever you want. You can drag it more to the side, more to the top. It won't keep it constrained anymore. Turn that back on and you're stuck with whatever you last left it at. So to get out of there, you can either hit escape or you hit a different tool and it'll ask you, do you want to keep the app? Do you want to apply the transformation? Do you not want to apply the transformation? I don't want to apply the particular transformation. Over here on the drawer, this little arrow, we'll just collapse the drawer back in so we don't have to look at it. Alright, so now you know how transform works. I'm going to use Control-T to transform Urania so he is bigger. I want him to be able to take up as much of this page as he will fit on without snapping to the edge. I don't care about the edge of the screenshot. I need his tail in, I need his mouth in, I need his mustache thing, whatever that is, in. And I hit enter. That commits the apply. You could also hit a random tool over here on the left and it'll say, do you want to apply? Yes, apply. So if this was your drawing of Jackal, the next thing you'd want to do after you make him as big as you can make him and still fit him on the page is come over here to the right where it says opacity. Make sure you're on the level of the rough stuff, not the white. Change the opacity slider bar down to, I don't know, 40, 35, something like that. You click a little arrow, it comes up and goes down, so there's that, or you can just click off. Now we can see the white through him. Makes it a little easier to see our lines when we start working with lines. Now we want a clear layer. I suppose, you know what? Here, let me pause and explain that. Up here on your tab name, we have the name. We have the zoom, is that what that is? Does that change? Yeah, it changed. Okay, the percent is how much zoomed in it's at. We are on the layer called rough. It is set to RGB mode as opposed to, so red, green, blue, as opposed to black and white. I don't know what the 8 is. And the asterisk means we haven't saved. So you could go to File, Save. You could go to File, Save As. If you know the shortcuts for those, you're welcome to use those. Yeah, we'll save it as a PSD for now. Let me open that again and show you. When you first save it, you set your file name, you set your file type. For if you're still going to be working on it and you want all your layers to be kept, you save it as a PSD. Otherwise, I would suggest saving it as a ping.png, and if you click it, it'll automatically change your extension to a PNG. You can also save it as a bitmap, a JPEG. I thought GIFs were in here. Oh, there's GIF. I don't think anyone really uses TIFFs. And you can't save as a PDF. Yes, you can. Photoshop PDF. PDFs are really better done with a different program, but it is an option. Okay, so cancel that. We've already saved this. There's no more asterisk up here. That little X means you can close this tab, but we don't want to close this tab. We're not done yet. We want a new layer so we can draw on it. So let's go up here in the top, layer, new. New layer, Shift Control N. You could also do layer via copy or layer via cut, but we haven't selected anything, so there's nothing to cut. If you do layer via copy, now we have two versions of this layer that are both set to 40% opacity, which creates a very interesting effect, but we don't want to do that, so I'm going to Control Z, undo, undo. We just want a normal, clear layer. New layer. Control Shift N. Name our layer. Let's name it lines. Color none, mode normal, opacity 100%. We can always change the opacity over here on the right later if we want to. So for right now, just name it something. If you forget to name it, you can double click on the name and say, oh, I want to name it rough lines instead of lines or whatever.